So I'm behind the wheel of my E92 M3 and I'm just outside Centralia, Pennsylvania. And Centralia, Pennsylvania is basically the real life Silent Hill. So back in May of 1962, there was a brush fire on the surface level and that somehow ignited a coal mine underneath of the town. The town had significant CO2 levels in people's houses. I think I read one of the mom and pop gas stations had checked the levels of the gas tank and the gas inside was at like 120 degrees. So the town was evacuated slowly. There are still some remnants of the town still. Some people didn't want to leave. We might see some houses, but basically I'm going to take this right. I'm going to go through the town, see what's left. The bottom half of the town, there's basically 3 cemeteries. I'm going to be respectful to the dead and to loved ones that may be buried there and not really film anything there other than, oh look, there's a cemetery. But near one of the cemeteries is where they did the controlled burn that happened to ignite the coal mine underneath. So maybe we'll see a spot. I think there might be one of like an exhaust pipe or something for the underground fire. There was the graffiti highway, which this road, once I'm driving, you'll kind of see like an abrupt arrows just forcing you to go right. Basically it was a one point going straight, and they blocked that off and that became like an abandoned highway where people would go and graffiti it up. But in the last 2 years they dumped a ton of dirt on that area, so it's not really worth me going to showcase that area. But you'll kind of see that while I'm filming where I'm driving on this road. It'll just be arrows forcing me to the right. But I'm going to basically drive through the town. It's basically been demolished except for, like I said, a few remnant houses, which I'm going to be respectful to the owners and not really film their houses too much, just might pass by and showcase it. But there's also like a community center. Up top of the town, there's a really popular picture spot, which is a church. But the church is actually right outside of the Centralia township lines, if you were to look at it on a map. But let's go take this journey. So currently looking at my map, it says Centralia, obviously. Down here is where, basically to my right, somewhere behind here, kind of a little tucked back a little, was where the controlled burn is. If I zoom out one more time on my map, basically this whole bottom of Centralia has got cemeteries, but right above the far, I guess you would consider that, east one is where the controlled burn happened. The road, when I drove past it, it's not really drivable for my M3. I see when I drove past, you may have seen some people parked off to the side. I'm really trying to keep this adventure in my M3 and driving, you know, through the town. So I'm not really gonna hop out and explore if I gotta hop out of the M3. But so we're gonna try to take some of these roads. So as you can see, it's still, you know, a town. All these roads are just gonna be roads to nowhere. There's potentially might see a house. There were some row houses, some like duplex style houses that I saw old pictures of, where they basically demolished one house and then, you know, had to put something up to hold the walls, support the walls. I don't know if we're gonna see those. I don't know if anybody's still living around here, but we're gonna see. You can see up top the church that everybody takes pictures of. That's actually, my GPS system doesn't kind of show the town limits, but if you look at the town limits online, that's actually right outside of the town limits. But let's continue the journey. I'm gonna see where the next spot I can kind of make a turn down a road, and we'll see what we see. You can see kind of people up in front of me kind of exploring the same. Saw people out of their cars to the left. So it's kind of like a urban exploring town, or I guess significantly rural. So I'm gonna turn left down this road that used to be a road for houses. So this is called Park Street. This would have been homes on either side. Some graffiti sprinkled through the road. Even though the graffiti highway, which should be far to my left, is covered with dirt, there's still kind of a tourist spot for people who want to explore the town. So this is the road going down, kind of a steep elevation change. I see a mailbox up ahead, so I'm assuming we're going to see somebody's house that still lives here. Or maybe recently vacated. Like any situation where people are forced to relocate, there's still people who don't want to leave. But here is a house. Out of respect, if people actually live here, you can see the support system. I guess it was originally attached to another house. But there's another house to my left. Somebody, I guess, did not want to leave Centralia. I'm going to go across. This is a kind of a main road out of the town that goes to Mount Carmel, which is a town that was not evacuated and there's nothing wrong with it, and the fire underground will not affect it in any way. A gentleman on a bike, probably exploring just the same as I am. I can see something, looks like pipes out of the ground right there, probably to somebody's house at one point. I'm just assuming. I don't know exactly which you know, spots were houses, but obviously, as you can see the grid map, this was all you know, gridded out as a town. These were all spots and plots for homes, and they were all demolished after the fire underground. These are kind of like alleyway streets, I guess. And up there is the town's municipal building that still exists. I'm not sure how the taxes work for this place. If only we only saw 2 houses and one looks sort of abandoned on its own now. I'm not sure who pays the taxes or what's the purpose of the building with only those people, but that is the municipal building of Centralia. I'm going to cut back to the right, see what we see. I'm gonna go down one of the alleys that I had passed. There's the road. You can see big spots in the ground that has been messed up by, you know, age. So like I said, to the right will lead you out of Centralia to Mount Carmel. I'm gonna go up left to see if we can get a look at that church. It's like I said, on the legitimate town limits, it's actually right outside of it. So it's not really part of Centralia, but it's off in a photo spot. Better look at the municipal building. Just kind of more roads to nowhere. Some other gentlemen exploring as well. that's the church. Obviously a lot of private property signs because people don't really listen sometimes and take photos and find a turnaround spot. Another road to nowhere back there. See guardrail. You can see the brick like as if it was somebody's property line. Fence. Some of these roads aren't exactly the best for exploring in an M3. So like this one, I would never be able to get through. Doesn't exactly lead to anywhere either. But I'm gonna kind of park across the street from where the cemeteries are. Actually, first I'll go across this road. Looks mostly drivable. You see fire hydrant for when this actually used to be a street. This is East Park Street. Looks like an alley, goes all the way down. So the controlled burn would have been somewhere in here, between these two streets on my GPS system. It would have been down there. So there's another house. To be respectful, I'm kind of just gonna turn around. But this is the closest house to where the controlled burn was. The other houses that you saw on the other side were probably the most safest from any sort of CO2, gas, or smoke situation. But if you're looking at this map, the controlled burn and the fire is mostly underground over here. There's some kind of cap right there next to, like, I don't know, 15 feet from that tree right there. There's some kind of cap. Could have been some remnant of a home there and they capped off a gas line or something, but I don't know if that has anything to do with all the ventilation spots they have for the fire. It's not really venting the fire, it's more for, I read about the, like, whoever monitors the fire and, like, fire crews, whatever, monitoring what it's doing down there. It's not letting it breathe or anything like that. So I'm gonna go up to the left and kind of park across the street from where those are. So you can see all the way down, this is an alley. You can see like a little grate right there. I'm sure there was probably houses on both sides of this. Another alley all the way up, and that alley would lead to the road. There's a street right here. So if it was to continue, it would continue to the road that links to the cemeteries, which the controlled burn was right next to the cemetery. Sidewalk broken. So that leads down to where the cemeteries are. There's more cemeteries this way. There's a fenced off area up there. The road didn't really, there was an SUV back there, but it's not really road friendly for my M3. But basically all to my left, there's a cemetery over this way, and controlled burn was here, and basically the fire is going on underground. Started basically there and kind of swoops all the way through basically the most southern half of the town, and that's where that highway basically forced me to go right, because that highway goes over top of it. There's a lot of pictures you can find online of that highway smoking before they dumped all the dirt on it, because obviously, it wasn't taken care of, so parts crumbled and made cracks, and through those cracks there was a lot of smoke coming through, and some decay photographers, urban decay, or I guess it's rural decay photographers, were taking photos of those, and obviously all the graffiti artwork that is there. I had mentioned that this is the real life Silent Hill that is based on the Silent Hill video game series. It's kind of retroactively based on Silent Hill, so it's more so the Silent Hill movie is based kind of on this town because of a coal fire going on underground. And then I think later Silent Hill games also implemented like a coal fire town that's abandoned. But so it's got its roots in Silent Hill, and people call it the real life Silent Hill. Sadly I did not see any smoke coming out of the ground, but it is cool to kind of see an abandoned town. This is roughly an hour and a half away from where I live. I've always wanted to come just to say I did, and it was cool. There's obviously there's nothing really to do other than to just see roads and some houses from the time before, but hope you like this video showcasing a drive through the real life Silent Hill, Centralia, Pennsylvania, in my E92 M3. Thanks for watching.